Please, God.
This is God.
It is time to get to my series of videos on one of my favorite horror film franchises of all time. I am HorrorBoy465, and welcome to my review of the first Friday the 13th, and also the beginning of my reviews on the Friday the 13th franchise. And I'm very excited to do this. This is quite possibly one. I wouldn't say it's the most, because there's been other franchises that I've been really excited to review, like Chainsaw Massacre, which that franchise will be updated when Leatherface comes out. I'll be doing a review on Leatherface whenever it comes out, and if I see it in theaters, that'll be the first Chainsaw Massacre movie that I've seen in theaters. And very crazy right now, just to get off the subject a little bit, it's just so crazy how right now it's just horror. Right now it's just really looking up. I mean, we got a lot of franchises coming back. We've got a lot of really good looking scary films or horror films coming out, and it's been good so far. It's been really good. But anyways, this is probably gonna be one of the best and most fun franchises I can review. And these aren't even all the DVDs I have. Right there. That's a lot of them. But I used to have a couple VHS tapes. I used to have, or I think I still have, like an old school Part 2 DVD. But real quick, before I get to the actual review of the first movie, I want to run through the DVD editions I have. I have this box set right here, which actually I'm just going to X out this alert that just happened. But yeah, I had this box set right here. This is the old school box set. I actually really enjoy it. Now, is it as good as quality as Deluxe editions? I wouldn't say so. But as far as features go, I would recommend this because it has more features to do with almost every single movie. I think every single movie on this bonus disc here, the Killer Extras disc right here, you actually have an 8-part featurette. I believe it covers every single film. There's a featurette for every single film. So that's really cool. You also got Scenes Galore Behind the Gore 3-part featurette, Crystal Lake Victims Tell All, Tales from the Cutting Room, Friday Artifacts and Collectibles, and Scary Trailers. And very, very nice addition to have with this box set. It's a very cool thing to have these extra features. Of course, you got a really awesome look of the Part 7 Jason's face. Very, very cool how it includes that, and there's some really good features on it. Really enjoy that. And, it's just a very good box set to have for the features, and also, I don't know, I just bought it because, it's a really cool looking box set, and I wanted to see the bonus features. The main reason why I bought this box set was for the bonus features, because the features that are on the bonus disc you don't really see in the Deluxe edition. Mainly the Deluxe edition sort of have their own features, and a lot of them I have a little bit of problems with, and I'll get to that in a second. Anyways, continuing on with my DVDs I own, let's get to the Deluxe editions. I own the first 4 movies in this 4-pack with Friday the 13th 1 through 4. Like I said, this is really good looking. Like the movies themselves, I definitely want to get a Deluxe edition collection and Blu-ray. I might trade these in and get some Blu-rays. But I do want to see if they have a box set or a 4-part like this and Blu-ray, and maybe these in Blu-ray. At least Part 5 getting in Blu-ray. But the first 5 movies I definitely want in Blu-ray. But yeah, it's just very, very well done quality-wise. I mean, you can tell they actually meant Deluxe editions because the picture is great, the sound is great, it's very clear. Definitely when you watch this and you compare it to that box set, you can definitely tell that one's a little bit more grainy. The audio is a little bit less remastered. This one is definitely a lot more clearer, a lot better looking picture, better sound. And what's cool about this box set is you get an uncut version of the first movie. But as far as features go, I mean, a lot of these features that you see in the back here, like parts 2 and 3 are the worst in this box set. As far as features go, I love the movies, but as far as features go, they don't really have anything at all. I don't think that part 3 even has any features. It just has a 3D version of the film. And part 2 has a bunch of bull crap because a lot of the stuff that's on the features list is either the first movie or has nothing to do with part 2. So, kind of a shame because I would say that part 2 is my new favorite movie. It used to be part 5. Part 5 is my second favorite. I love part 5. I can't get enough of part 5. But I'd say because a couple of weeks ago I did or about a month ago probably, I did a marathon of these movies so I can get updated and remember what's going on and so that I'm not sort of like guessing. So when I do these franchise reviews a couple months prior, I'll rewatch the entire franchise, especially with a big franchise like this, and I'll just sort of remember things and get things memorized. And this franchise really isn't that hard to forget, though. The films are very simple to remember, but still, I wanted to keep updated, so I went through and I watched all movies. Currently, I think there's about 12 movies to date, I believe. I think it would be about 12 movies. And what's really cool about this franchise is that a lot of these movies are amazing. Like, the first 4 movies, I think, are great. The 5th movie's great. Like, a lot of these movies are great. And that's one of the things I love about this franchise is that it has a lot of great movies in it. A lot of really well-made slasher films. And I'm a huge fan of this franchise. This is probably my second favorite franchise of all time. Of course, there's other ones that have popped up over the years. Like, I love the Halloween franchise. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. But for me, I would say that Leatherface or Jason has always been the franchise that I really enjoyed watching. I really enjoy watching the Freddy Krueger movies, as well as franchises like Scream, because Scream 1, 3, and 4 I really enjoy. 2 was alright, it was decent, I guess, but yeah, this is just a franchise that I think it has a lot of great movies in it. But yeah, I mean, deluxe editions of the first 4 movies. It's a shame that the features don't really have much to it, but it looks really, really good. So if you're going to go for these movies for quality, I would suggest the deluxe editions. But if you want some features, I would prefer this for features. But if you don't really want features or not really concerned about that, you just want a really good looking movie with good sound and good picture, then these are good to pick up because it's a lot less grainy and it's a lot less bad audio. The audio is remastered, the picture's remastered, so it looks great and it sounds great. So that's the first 4 movies in that 4-pack. Then we have part 5. This is also probably the ending of the bad cover or the good covers, because the first 4 covers, these ones are kind of harmless. They're very basic. This one's actually pretty cool looking. I'd honestly prefer this poster more than the original poster, where it's like a regular hockey mask, like an actual real hockey mask, not this kind of hockey mask, but an actual real hockey mask they use. And it's like, I don't know, I don't want to say CGI because they didn't really have CGI, but it's like a computerized mask, it seemed, and it has this glowing light and a background, like a red background, the glowing red light going to the mask, and I don't know, really bad looking poster, honestly. I don't want that poster. I wish they would make a poster of this, because that looks pretty cool. They might have a poster of that, I'm not too sure. But this is probably my favorite cover for part 5, and it's from the deluxe editions. Usually these covers are pretty bad, which we'll get to these covers in a minute. But, yeah, it's pretty cool looking. I really enjoy that cover. I also don't really mind, or I don't really care for that other poster they made for part 5, where it's Tommy Jarvis standing with a machete, and it's shadowed, and then there's a part 5 mask in the background, and then it says, if the memory of Jason still haunts you, you're not alone. And then it says part 5, a new beginning. I didn't really care for it. It was like part 5 had some of the weakest posters, I'll be honest. It's one of my favorite movies. It's my second favorite film of the franchise. But I will be honest, it did have some really bad posters. but this is at least a good poster. So this is the last good poster. The reason that's the last good poster is because A, this poster looks cheesy as heck, and also, that's not even the biggest problem, but also, if you look closely, that is not a Part 5 mask. I don't know if it shows up that well on this webcam, but that's not a Part 6 mask. Or did I say that's not a Part 5 mask? It's not a Part 6 mask. It's actually a Part 5 mask, because if you can see it, I don't know if you guys can, or if you guys look at the Part 6 Deluxe Edition poster, there's the giant chevrons, the blue chevrons right on the mask. That's from Part 5. You never see a shot of a Part 5 mask in this film. Then we get to Part 7's poster. Very, in my opinion, this looks very cheesy, very cheap. It looks like a mixture between a Part 6 Jason and maybe a Part 5 Jason, or Imposter Jason. Or, I don't know. Honestly, to me, it kind of looks like it's a Part 7 and a 6 Jason combined with a Part 5-ish mask, because once again, as you can see, it's a giant chevron. There's no triangle up here or no chevron up here. It's just a chevron right here, and it's red instead of being blue. So it's kind of like, and there's also an axe mark right here. So I'm like, apparently they love the Part 5 mask. I love the Part 5 mask. The Part 5 mask is great, but at the same time, when you have all these movies that they don't even have a shot, a single frame of a Part 5 mask in the film, or nowhere anywhere in this movie, there's nothing to do with a Part 5 mask. So you're putting a Part 5-ish mask on the front cover, because that's not how the mask looks like in the movie. It looks like that right there, that top picture of Jason right there. It looks like that. Pretty awesome looking hockey mask. I don't know why they didn't use it for the front cover. It's awesome. But that, I don't know, that cover's pretty bad. It doesn't look like Jason from the movie at all. It looks like you pretty much took these other looks for Jason and just combined them all together and got that. I mean, it honestly looks pretty bad. But, yeah, that's not the end of it, by the way. So, yeah, that's a pretty bad poster. But we also continue on to Part 8's poster, where it's once again the Part 5 mask. I mean, we got the giant chevrons on the side, no top chevron, and I don't know, I prefer the original poster more than this. This looks cheesy in my opinion. The original poster been awesome with Jason, over the city with a knife and stuff. I mean, that was a pretty awesome looking poster. So was the I Heart New York, but it was cut out with Jason's hockey mask right there. That's a pretty cool poster as well. But no, this poster has a Part 5 mask on it. Or it looks like it's a Part, I don't know. It looks like it looks like a Part 8 mask with Part 5 chevrons on it. That's what it kind of reminds me of. Like a Part 8 mask with Part 5 chevrons. And once again, in the movie, that's how Jason looks. If I can get him in the frame. That's how Jason's mask looks. He doesn't look anywhere near like this. Once again, it looks like a Part 8 mask with Part 5 chevrons. Does not make sense. But yeah, that's pretty much all the Deluxe editions I have. Let's move on to the other DVD editions I have. Moving on to other DVD editions I have, I also have a Jason Goes to Hell R-rated and unrated edition DVD. This is honestly just a very underrated film. I think this movie is great. Really big fan of the poster. Really awesome looking. But yeah, Jason Goes to Hell. I'm trying to speed up a little bit so we can get to the actual review part of the video. We have Jason X. I have this DVD edition. My opinions on this movie are coming soon, so I won't get into too much detail. But yeah, this is just stay tuned to the review. You guys will see what I think about Jason X. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned and keep watching the reviews, and eventually I'll get to Jason X. Then I have this 4-pack. I used to have a singular DVD of Freddy vs. Jason, but I can't find it, so this is all I have right now. So yeah, I have that. I have a regular DVD, the Killer Cut edition of Friday the 13th remake from 2009, the Killer Cut, and once again a movie I'll get to a little bit later on. But yeah, there's Friday the 13th remake, and I do own the first documentary on DVD. His name was Jason. This is a 2-disc set, and it's the first one, the first documentary, or second one called Crystal Lake Memories, but I haven't gotten that one yet. But I will do a review on this one because, it was the first documentary. But yeah, those are pretty much all the DVDs I have. Friday the 13th. I also had a couple other VHS tapes and some other DVD editions, but they're pretty much lost. But yeah, anyways, once I get back and organize some of these DVDs together, we will get to the review of the very first Friday the 13th. I'll be right back, guys. Also, really quick, I forgot to mention this, but I just now noticed this. This right here is not a Part 4 mask. Yeah, figure I just say that. That is not a Part 4 mask at all. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to get to my review of the very first classic, I think classic, film in the franchise. And that is my review on the one, the only, the legendary Friday the 13th, the original. Now, this movie, I think, is a very important film in horror film history. I think it's a movie that has a lot of meaning. Without Friday the 13th, we would not have what we know as slasher films today. I think a lot of films before this helped it, like Halloween and Chainsaw Massacre, and there's obviously some slasher films that came out, or in the van of slasher films that's come out before this movie. But Friday the 13th really made this a very mainstream, and the focus was on the kills, the focus was on the makeup effects, the premise, and it formed a formula that really just started a giant wave of slasher films. And it was a new taste in horror. It was a new thing. It was a new way to make a horror film. Because with Friday the 13th happening, I mean, after this movie came out, it was a huge hit in the summer. I believe it outmade The Shining. It made more money than Dress to Kill. It made more money than The Shining, more money than Dress to Kill. I think it rivaled with Empire Strikes Back, which is a big deal because back in the day, that was a Star Wars movie. And this was a horror film. So in a way, it showed that, you could take this little movie and you could really push it out there and you could really make this a success. And I think that's just really cool because I'm a big fan of Star Wars, but it's awesome to hear that horror at that time was really rivaling with it. I love that. It just showed that, horror does have potential. I think personally horror is a very underrated genre. And I just love how back in the day, this sort of showed that, you could do that. You could make a horror film that could be as big as you want it to be. And I just love that about this movie. I just love how, it was an underdog and it became a huge hit. I really enjoyed about this movie. And I think it's just a very well-made movie. It's one of my favorites. I think its atmosphere, not only is its atmosphere, like the way the movie's shot, the way the movie is filmed, the way the movie's atmosphere is, not only is it one of my favorite, it's probably my favorite atmosphere of the franchise, but not only is it that, it's one of my favorite atmospheres, and I'm just being honest with this, guys, it's one of my favorite atmospheres in horror film history. And it's probably the same with some other stuff too, but this movie's atmosphere, I think what's so great about it is you really feel like, at least for me, you really feel that summer feel. You feel like it's in the summer, it's at a summer camp. The atmosphere is beautiful. It's in the nature, it's in the woods. And even at nighttime, it shows that it can go from beautiful to totally creepy just like that. And I really enjoy that. I think it's just awesome how that can be done. And yeah, I mean, it was just a very well done atmosphere, very well directed. I really enjoyed the way the movie was shot. And yeah, one of my favorite atmospheres from a horror film is from this movie. And this movie, I feel like, is very underrated right now because it's a movie that, since the sequels have come out, it sort of got overshadowed. It kind of gets overlooked. It's said to be, it's said to be not as good as some sequels. Obviously, my favorite is Part 2, but I don't necessarily say Part 1 is probably my third favorite because Part 1, I think, is just a classic horror film. And it really is a classic slasher film. I really do the first Friday the 13th. And Friday the 13th came out in 1980, gets 6.5 on IMDb, written by Sean S. Cunningham, who had helped Wes Craven on, he was, I believe, involved with the writing, I believe, so he helped Wes Craven on Last House on the Left. He also was involved with a lot of stuff with Wes Craven, and Sean S. Cunningham did a very good job directing this movie. It's very well made. And this movie was just meant to be a Halloween. This is coming from the writer and everything. This was meant to be a Halloween ripoff, but this movie became such a big success that it spawned one of the greatest franchises, in my opinion, of all time. Not just in horror film history, but in my opinion, just of all time. People are always going to remember Jason. Always. And that's why when the Bye Bye Man came out, if you guys remember back when I did my rants on that movie was coming out on Friday the 13th saying, oh, this is Jason's date, but now it's the Bye Bye Man's date. I'm like, no, you will never, 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 ever outlive Jason. You will never take that date. That date belongs to these movies. It belongs to these movies. That's Jason's date. That's Jason's movies. You will never replace that Bye Bye Man. I'm just saying that because I've seen the ads everywhere, and it was talking about, well, it's going to be better than Jason. It's going to be taking the date. It's going to be better than this, better than that. I'm just like, no, it's not. I mean, I get its opinions, but when I was seeing the trailer saying that, oh yeah, this is Jason's date, but now the Bye Bye Man this is the Bye Bye Man's date. It's like, no, Friday the 13th, that is Jason's day. That is Jason's franchise, and yeah. So when that was said, I was just really mad. I was kind of raging at that, but anyways, the story, I mean, it's a very basic story to get into this movie. I mean, it starts off and, well, I mean, pretty much it's simple. I mean, these kids are going to this camp. They're reopening Camp Crystal Lake. It's been closed down for a long time. They're reopening it. And these teens go there to reopen the camp, and they're having a little bit of fun, smoking a little bit of dope, playing strip Monopoly, drinking beer, having just a fun time. And that's what's pretty interesting about this movie is that it's a mystery movie. It's like a mystery slasher film. Now, of course, that mystery is very obvious now. Like, extremely obvious. I mean, when you watch this movie now, you probably already know who the killer is. Because, I mean, for me, even when I was a kid, I kind of knew who the killer was by watching it because I always heard that it was Jason's mom, Just always knew that. And I just like how there's that mystery element to it. I like how this cast, a lot of people don't like this cast. I mean, you have young Kevin Bacon in the movie. You have, who is it? You have Betsy Palmer, Adrienne King, Janine Taylor, Robbie Morgan, Kevin Bacon, Harry Crosby, Laurie Bartram, Mark Nelson, and Peter Brower. And the cast did actually a pretty decent job. I mean, for being a slasher film, I've seen much worse than this cast. I've seen much worse. I've seen slasher films with terrible acting. I'll be honest, the acting in this movie, it's not great, but it's probably some of, it's at least a decent performance. I was going to say some of the best of, but I wouldn't even say that. It's decent. It's capable. It's not annoying. It's not like it's horrible and it's terrible. It's just the characters aren't really fleshed out a lot in this movie. And that's kind of like a common theme in slasher films, so I really won't get in the movie that much about that. I mean, it's very common for that to happen in slasher films. But these characters are there. They're working on the place. They're repairing the place out. They're getting it all ready for, to reopen. And what I really enjoy is that this atmosphere is just very well handled. It's a very well done, very slow build up. It is very well filmed. It's very just very natural. I think that's what it is. Just like it's a very naturally filmed movie. I mean, how it's so beautiful during the day, and then at nighttime it becomes just completely terrifying. I mean, the atmosphere at night also. I would say the same thing about Hills of Eyes, the original. The original Hills of Eyes had a freaking terrifying nighttime atmosphere. Same thing with this movie. I mean, it's pretty creepy looking at night. And, you know, combining that with the rain, thunderstorm, that classic slasher film, you know, idea of the thunderstorm, just very well done. Just very well done. And you pretty much have these kids, they're getting killed off one by one. You don't know who it is. At the end of the movie, Adrian King is the last person alive. Adrian King is one of my favorite leads of the franchise. I don't know if it'd be part two's lead. I think it might be part two's lead girl or part 5. I'm a really big fan of Pam. I think she's really, you know, a good actress and, you know, a really good lead character in that movie. So I'd say either her, Pam, or Adrian King, or it'd be Adrian King, Pam, or Amy Steele from this movie, from part 2. Those are probably my 3 favorite leads. And Adrian King, she's a very strong character. You know, she's going through a lot. She finds out that Mrs. Voorhees is the killer. And why she's the killer is because a long time ago she had a son named Jason Voorhees who had drowned in Cankerous Lake because the camp counselors were not paying attention. And she's sort of come back and done this revenge for her son. And she's completely out of her mind. And Betsy Palmer, rest in peace, Betsy Palmer, she did an amazing job as Mrs. Voorhees. And she's a very creepy character, talks to herself in her son's voice. She has a very crazy motive behind her murders. And a very, very well done twist. Classic twist. And I like how the end of the movie, the first 4 movies, or at least the first 5 actually, the first 5 movies, they've always had those great finales. Like, what I love is, like, it builds. You get kills. You know, you get some nudity. You get a little bit of character development in some movies. And it builds. And you get to that third act of the movie, and the third act is just freaking out of control. Like, it's a chase scene. The girls are going, or the guys or the girl leads are going through so much. They're getting chased by Jason Voorhees. Jason is not dying. He's getting hit and hurt, but he's not dying. And even in this movie, Mrs. Voorhees, she's chased after, you know, Adrian King's character, and she's very well done. You know, Adrian King knocks her out a few times and keeps on running, and you get to the end of the movie where Adrian King gets a machete and decapitates Mrs. Voorhees. Very, very well done slow-mo shot. Very well done scene. And then the end of the movie is just very, very well done. Because it has some of my favorite music from the franchise. I mean, that beautiful piece of music by Harry Manfredini plays, and it's very, very beautiful. And you get that classic jump scare where Jason flies out the water, grabs Adrian King, pulls back in the water, and the movie ends. And what I meant by the nighttime sequences was actually a very good scene where it takes place where this girl, she's actually hearing this kid crying out in the distance, and there's a storm going on. And it's pitch black outside. You can't see anything besides her and the lantern and the rain. And she's walking in the rain and she doesn't know where to go. I thought this was very well done. Where she's hearing this little kid going, "Help me! Please help!" And she's trying to figure out where he's at. And yeah, I get it. You don't see her get killed. But, you know, that build-up was just very well done. That was honestly one of my favorite scenes from this movie and the franchise. It's just very well filmed. It's very creepy. There's no music at all. It's very silent. All you hear is the storm and her trying to find Jason or find wherever this noise is coming from. And you hear Jason's voice out in the background in the distance. And very, very suspenseful scene. Very, very well done. Very suspenseful. Very, very creepy, honestly. And the kills, I mean, you got some pretty good kills in this movie. I mean, you got, at the beginning of the movie, this guy gets stabbed right in the chest. The zoom-in shot in the girl's face, and then the title going to the window. That was awesome. Got the axe to the face, killed. Got the girl gets her throat slit. The practical jokester guy gets his throat slit. Kevin Bacon gets a freaking arrow through the neck. Probably my favorite death scene in the movie is either the arrow to the neck or the axe to the face. Those are pretty awesome kills. Harry Crosby's character has a bunch of arrows through him. He's actually hung up on a door with a bunch of arrows through him, which is pretty crazy. The one girl gets caught off camera. You don't really know how she dies. And you have a pretty cool death scene where Mrs. Voorhees gets decapitated. So yeah, I mean, the kills are pretty decent. I think it's a very underrated movie. I think it has a lot going for it. I think it's a very well-paced movie, very well-shot movie. Love the score, love the makeup effects, the death scenes, I love the twist, the mystery element to it. Beautiful atmosphere, but it can also be very creepy at times. Just a lot going for the first Friday the 13th, and it's an absolute classic. So anyways, guys, that's it for my review of Friday the 13th. And we have just kickstarted off the reviews on the Friday the 13th franchise. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review of the first Friday the 13th. And make sure you guys keep an eye out for future reviews. We'll be doing reviews on these movies, you know, for quite a little bit because it's a big franchise. So keep an eye out for future videos. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. And I'll see you guys in the next review. The Explorer of Horror out. See you guys later.